There are moments in life when everything feels unusually heavy. Your heart feels tired, your mind is restless, and even small responsibilities begin to feel overwhelming. You may start questioning why things are not working despite your efforts, why doors keep closing, or why challenges appear one after another without relief. In such moments, it is easy to assume that something is wrong with you, or that you are being left behind while others move forward. But from a spiritual perspective, hardship is often not a sign of abandonment, it is a sign of preparation. Allah does not burden a soul without wisdom, and every difficulty carries within it a hidden process of transformation. When Allah intends goodness for someone, He begins to shape them before granting them what they are meant to carry. Just as a building must have a strong foundation before it can rise high, a believer must develop strength, patience, humility, and reliance before receiving greater blessings. The heaviness you will feel may be the strengthening of your foundation. Without preparation, blessings can become burdens, and success can become a test that weakens rather than elevates a person. Allah prepares hearts before changing destinies, because unprepared hearts may lose gratitude, forget dependence on Him, or become distracted by worldly achievements. Think about how gold is refined. It is placed in intense heat, not to destroy it, but to remove impurities. The fire reveals its true beauty and increases its value. Similarly, hardships expose weaknesses, cleanse intentions, and refine character. During ease, many people become comfortable and unaware of their spiritual state, but difficulty forces reflection. It makes you reconsider your priorities, reassess your relationships, and question what truly matters. Through this process, Allah removes arrogance, dependence on people, and attachment to temporary things, replacing them with sincerity and deeper faith. Preparation often feels uncomfortable, because growth itself is uncomfortable. A seed buried beneath the soil experiences darkness and pressure before it ever sees light. If the seed could speak, it might feel forgotten, trapped, or abandoned. Yet that hidden phase is essential for its growth. Your current struggles may be that unseen stage where Allah is nurturing qualities within you that cannot develop during times of comfort. Patience is not learned when life is easy. Trust in Allah is not built when everything goes according to plan. True reliance emerges when outcomes are uncertain and hope rests only in Him. Many people assume that preparation means immediate visible progress, but divine preparation frequently happens internally before it appears externally. Allah may be teaching you emotional resilience so that future criticism does not break you. He may be teaching you humility so that future success does not corrupt you. He may be teaching you patience so that future delays do not shake your faith. What feels like? Well, stagnation might actually be deep internal development. While nothing around you seems to change, your mindset, character, and spiritual awareness are quietly evolving. Hardships also reveal hidden strengths you never knew you possessed. When life is smooth, people underestimate their ability to endure, forgive, adapt, and survive. Challenges awaken courage and resilience that remain dormant during comfort. You begin to discover how strong your faith can be, how powerful sincere dua becomes, and how capable you are of standing again after disappointment. Allah prepares you by allowing you to experience situations that stretch your limits, not to break you, but to show you your true capacity. Sometimes preparation includes removing certain people, opportunities, or plans from your life. What you once desired may suddenly disappear, leaving confusion and sadness behind. Yet Allah's wisdom operates beyond immediate understanding. He may be clearing space for something better aligned with your future. Holding on to what is not meant for you can prevent you from receiving what truly belongs to you. Loss, therefore, can be a form of preparation, redirecting your path towards something more meaningful. Another part of preparation is learning reliance on Allah alone. Humans naturally seek support from people, status, or material stability, but when those supports weaken, the heart turns back to its Creator. Difficult times remind you that true security does not come from circumstances but from faith. Through hardship, Allah strengthens your connection with Him, teaching you to seek comfort in prayer, patience in remembrance, and hope in divine mercy. This spiritual closeness becomes the greatest preparation for whatever lies ahead. Preparation also reshapes perspective. Situations that once frustrated you begin to teach lessons. You become more empathetic toward others' struggles, more grateful for small blessings, and more aware of life's temporary nature. The heaviness you feel today may be developing wisdom that will later guide others. Many people who inspire and uplift others do so because they have walked through deep personal struggles that transform their understanding of life. Often, the most significant blessings arrive after periods of intense difficulty because the person receiving them has changed. The blessing itself may not be different, but the person is now capable of appreciating it, managing it, and using it for good. Allah prepares individuals not only to receive blessings, but to sustain them with gratitude and responsibility. Without preparation, sudden ease might lead to heedlessness, but after hardship, gratitude becomes natural and faith becomes rooted. The heaviness in your life right now may therefore be evidence that something meaningful is being shaped within you. Every moment of patience, every silent prayer, every tear shed in sincerity contributes to a transformation that is not yet fully visible. Allah's preparation is precise, personal, and perfectly timed, working in ways beyond human perception while quietly building strength, faith, and readiness for what is yet to come. There are times when hardships enter a person's life so repeatedly that they begin to wonder whether they are being punished or forgotten. The heart asks silent questions. Why do challenges continue even when intentions are sincere, prayers are made, and efforts are honest? From an Islamic perspective, difficulty is not always a sign of displeasure. In many cases, it is actually a sign of love from Allah. The tests a believer faces can reflect divine care because Allah refines and elevates those He intends to bring closer to Him. Human beings naturally associate love with ease and comfort. We expect that being loved means life should become simple, smooth, and free from pain. Yet divine love operates differently from human expectations. Allah does not measure love by temporary comfort, but by eternal benefit. When Allah loves someone, He guides them toward growth, purification, and spiritual elevation, even if that path includes trials. These trials are not meant to destroy faith, but to strengthen it, just as physical training strengthens muscles through resistance rather than relaxation. The lives of the prophets clearly demonstrate this reality. They were the most beloved to Allah, yet they faced the greatest struggles. They experienced rejection, loss, hardship, and deep emotional pain. Their difficulties were never signs of abandonment, rather, they were evidence of their elevated status and their role as examples for humanity. Through their trials, they reached levels of patience, reliance, and trust that became timeless lessons for believers. When a person understands this pattern, hardships begin to appear not as punishments, but as opportunities for spiritual elevation. Tests purify the heart from hidden weaknesses. Every human carries imperfections such as pride, attachment to worldly approval, or will, excessive reliance on material security. During times of ease, these weaknesses often remain unnoticed. Difficulty, however, exposes them clearly. When plans fail or support disappears, a person realizes how dependent they were on things other than Allah. This realization is not meant to shame but to cleanse. Allah removes spiritual impurities through trials so that the heart becomes sincere, humble, and fully connected to Him. Another aspect of divine love is the elevation of rank. In Islam, spiritual status is not earned only through acts of worship performed during comfort. Patience during hardship carries immense reward. Every moment of endurance, every tear shed in private, and every act of faith maintained despite struggle raises a believer's standing. Even pain that seems meaningless in the moment contributes to eternal reward. What feels heavy in this life may become a source of immense light in the next. Hardships also strengthen the relationship between a servant and their Creator. When life is easy, people often become distracted. Success and comfort can create a sense of independence that distances the heart from remembrance. Tests, however, bring a person back to sincere supplication. In moments of vulnerability, prayers become deeper, more honest, and more heartfelt. The believer speaks to Allah not out of routine, but out of genuine need. This renewed connection is itself a mercy because closeness to Allah brings peace that no worldly success can provide. Divine love sometimes appears in the form of delay or difficulty because Allah knows the future consequences that humans cannot see. A person may desire something intensely, a relationship, an opportunity, or a particular outcome, believing it will bring happiness. Yet Allah, in His perfect knowledge, may withhold it to protect the individual from harm or from a path that would weaken their faith. What feels like hardship may actually be protection disguised as struggle, being prevented from certain will. Outcomes can be a sign that Allah is guiding a person towards something more beneficial for their soul. Tests also build emotional resilience. Through challenges, believers learn patience, gratitude, forgiveness, and perseverance. These qualities cannot be developed through comfort alone. A person who has experienced hardship gains compassion for others and becomes more understanding of human struggle. Divine love shapes individuals into sources of mercy and strength for those around them. The pain they endure becomes part of a larger purpose, preparing them to support and uplift others. At times, Allah tests believers to remind them of their true home. This world is temporary, yet humans often become deeply attached to it. Difficulty gently shifts the heart's focus from temporary pleasures to eternal success. When worldly stability feels uncertain, faith becomes the anchor. The believer begins to value spiritual peace over material achievement, recognizing that true success lies in will, closeness to Allah rather than in worldly comfort. It is also important to understand that divine love does not mean constant hardship without relief. Alongside every test, Allah sends moments of ease, hidden blessings, and subtle signs of mercy. A comforting word, an unexpected solution, or renewed strength after exhaustion are all reminders that Allah is present and aware. These moments reassure the believer that trials are measured and purposeful, never random or excessive. When viewed through this lens, struggles transform from sources of despair into signs of spiritual attention from Allah. The believer begins to see hardship as part of a journey of refinement and elevation. Instead of asking why difficulties exist, the heart learns to ask what lessons they carry and how they can bring one closer to Allah. The awareness that Allah tests those He loves changes the emotional experience of hardship, replacing hopelessness with meaning and fear with trust. Every challenge, every delay, and every moment of patience becomes part of a divine process, shaping the believer into a stronger, more faithful version of themselves. The trials faced today may be preparing the heart for greater responsibilities, deeper faith, and higher spiritual ranks that could never be achieved without struggle, quietly guiding the believer toward closeness, purification, and honor in ways only Allah fully understands. Human beings naturally seek comfort. We prefer stability, predictability, and ease because they make life feel safe and manageable. Comfort allows routines to form, habits to settle, and emotions to remain steady. Yet spiritual and personal growth rarely happens within comfort zones. When life becomes challenging and unfamiliar, it often signals that change is taking place beneath the surface. The discomfort you experience may not be a sign that life is falling apart. It may be evidence that growth is beginning. Comfort can sometimes create stagnation when everything goes well. According to plan, people stop questioning their direction, their intentions, or their relationship with Allah. Ease can lead to complacency, where spiritual practices become routine rather than meaningful. A person may pray, work, and live without deep reflection because nothing forces them to reevaluate their path. Growth requires movement, and movement often begins when comfort is disrupted. Difficulty pushes individuals to reflect, adapt, and seek deeper purpose beyond daily routines. When challenges arise, they interrupt familiar patterns. Plans fail, expectations change, and certainty disappears. Although uncomfortable, these moments force awareness. A person begins to ask important questions. Who am I becoming? What truly matters? Where do I seek strength when everything feels uncertain? These questions awaken self-awareness and spiritual consciousness. Without discomfort, many of these reflections would never occur because comfort rarely demands introspection. Pain has a unique ability to redirect attention toward Allah. During ease, reliance on personal ability or external support can quietly replace reliance on the Creator. When challenges appear, the illusion of control fades and the heart turns sincerely toward Allah for guidance and relief. This turning back is not a weakness, but a powerful step in spiritual development. Growth in faith often begins when human solutions feel insufficient and dependence on Allah becomes genuine rather than symbolic. Difficult experiences also reveal areas where change is needed. Sometimes habits, relationships, or mindsets hold a person back without them realizing it. Comfort allows unhealthy patterns to continue unnoticed. Hardship exposes these areas clearly. A failed opportunity may reveal misplaced priorities. A difficult relationship may teach boundaries and self-respect. Emotional struggles may highlight the need for spiritual healing. Through discomfort, Allah brings awareness to what must evolve for a person to will move forward. Growth outside comfort also builds resilience. Strength does not develop when life is effortless. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, emotional and spiritual strength develops through challenges. Each difficulty faced with patience increases confidence in one's ability to endure future trials. A person who has navigated hardship learns that they are capable of surviving uncertainty, disappointment, and change. This resilience becomes a lasting form of strength that comfort alone cannot provide. Discomfort often precedes transformation. Consider how major life changes occur. New beginnings, personal breakthroughs, and meaningful achievements frequently emerge after periods of struggle. Learning new skills requires frustration. Personal healing requires confronting painful emotions. Spiritual growth requires leaving familiar habits behind. The heaviness felt during these transitions is part of the transformation process. What feels unstable today may be the restructuring necessary for a stronger future. Another aspect of growth is the development of patience. Patience is not simply waiting, it is maintaining faith and positive action while outcomes remain unclear. Comfort rarely tests patience because results are immediate and predictable. Difficulty teaches endurance, trust, and emotional balance. Through waiting, a believer learns to surrender outcomes to Allah while continuing effort with sincerity. This balance between action and trust strengthens faith in profound ways. Discomfort also deepens gratitude. During ease, blessings can become invisible because they are constant. Health, stability, and peace are often taken for granted until they are challenged. Hardship awakens appreciation for small mercies that previously went unnoticed. A calm moment, supportive words, or a simple solution becomes meaningful. Growth includes learning to recognize blessings even within difficulty, transforming perspective from complaint to gratitude. Facing challenges encourages emotional maturity as well. A person begins to understand that life cannot always follow personal expectations. Acceptance replaces resistance, and wisdom develops through experience. Instead of reacting impulsively to hardship, a growing believer learns to pause, reflect, and respond with patience and faith. Emotional maturity allows individuals to navigate life's uncertainties with greater stability and understanding. Growth outside comfort often prepares individuals for responsibilities they could not previously handle. Greater blessings require greater strength, discipline, and awareness. Without preparation, opportunities may overwhelm rather than benefit a person. Challenges build the internal capacity needed to carry future success responsibly. The lessons learned through struggle become tools that help maintain balance when ease eventually arrives. Discomfort can also reshape identity. A person who once defined themselves through achievements or external validation begins to discover inner worth rooted in faith and character. When familiar sources of confidence are removed, individuals learn to value sincerity, perseverance, and spiritual connection over temporary approval. This shift creates a deeper sense of purpose that remains stable regardless of external circumstances. Many people later recognize that the periods they once feared were actually turning points in their lives. Moments of uncertainty led to personal awakening, stronger faith, and clearer direction. The struggle that once felt unbearable becomes the very experience that shaped wisdom and resilience. Growth rarely announces itself clearly while it is happening. Instead, it unfolds quietly through challenges that stretch understanding and patience. The heaviness you feel may therefore be the natural resistance that accompanies transformation. Just as dawn follows the darkest hours of night, personal and spiritual development often occurs during times when clarity seems distant. Allah uses discomfort to guide believers beyond limitations they did not know existed. allowing them to discover strength, faith, and purpose that could never emerge within the boundaries of comfort alone, shaping hearts and lives through a process that feels difficult yet carries profound meaning and unseen progress. One of the most difficult experiences a person faces is waiting for something they deeply desire while watching it remain out of reach. You make plans, put in effort, pray sincerely, and hope for a certain outcome, yet the response seems delayed. Doors remain closed, opportunities disappear, and progress feels slower than expected. In these moments, the heart begins to interpret delay as rejection or failure. However, from a spiritual perspective, delay is often not denial but protection. Allah's timing operates with perfect knowledge, seeing realities beyond human understanding. Human beings naturally judge situations based on immediate emotions and limited vision. We see what we want and assume it will bring happiness, stability, or fulfillment, yet Allah knows the unseen consequences of every path. What appears beneficial today may carry hidden harm tomorrow. A relationship may seem perfect but lead to emotional damage. An opportunity may appear successful but distance a person from faith or peace. Because Allah sees what lies ahead, He sometimes delays what we seek to protect us from outcomes we cannot foresee. Divine protection does not always feel comforting in the moment. When expectations are not met, disappointment can feel heavy. The mind questions why sincere prayers seem unanswered or why efforts do not produce results. This emotional struggle is part of learning trust. True reliance on Allah means believing that His wisdom extends beyond personal understanding. Delay teaches patience not only with circumstances but also with destiny itself, reminding believers that timing belongs to Allah alone. Sometimes Allah delays blessings because preparation is still incomplete. A person may desire success, marriage, financial stability, or recognition. But without the necessary emotional or spiritual readiness, those blessings could become overwhelming. Immediate fulfillment might lead to arrogance, poor decisions, or loss of gratitude. Through delay, Allah develops maturity, resilience, and wisdom so that when the blessing finally arrives, it can be sustained responsibly. What feels like waiting is often preparation happening quietly within the heart. Delay also protects individuals from making decisions driven solely by emotion. Humans often act quickly when something appears attractive or urgent. Waiting creates space for reflection, allowing clarity to replace impulsiveness. Over time, desires themselves may change. What once felt essential may later appear unsuitable or unnecessary. Many people eventually realize that what they once begged for would not have brought lasting peace. The delay allowed perspective to grow and prevented choices that might have led to regret. Another form of divine protection lies in redirection. Closed doors frequently guide people toward paths they would never have considered on their own. A rejected opportunity may lead to a better career. A delayed plan may open space for personal healing. A loss may push someone closer to Allah and awaken a deeper sense of purpose. Without delay, individuals might remain on paths that limit their growth. Allah redirects through timing, gently steering believers toward what aligns with their true benefit. Waiting periods also strengthen faith. During immediate success, gratitude exists, but dependence on Allah may weaken. Delay, however, keeps the heart connected through continuous dua and reflection. The believer learns to maintain hope without certainty, to trust without visible evidence, and to remain patient without knowing when relief will come. This sustained reliance builds a strong spiritual foundation that will remain steady regardless of future outcomes. Delay teaches emotional endurance as well. Life does not always unfold according to personal timelines, and learning to accept uncertainty is part of spiritual maturity. Instead of measuring life by speed of achievement, believers begin to measure it by growth in character and closeness to Allah. Waiting becomes an active process rather than passive suffering. It becomes a time of self-improvement, worship, reflection, and inner development. Many delays are also acts of mercy. Allah may withhold something because a greater blessing is being prepared. Immediate fulfillment might satisfy temporary desires, while delayed fulfillment may bring lasting benefit. The believer often recognizes this wisdom only in hindsight, when events align in ways that reveal divine planning. What once felt painful begins to make sense, showing how every delay contributed to a more complete and meaningful outcome. During periods of waiting, Allah sends subtle reminders of His care. Strength appears during moments of exhaustion, unexpected ease follows hardship, and hope returns after despair. These moments reassure the believer that delay does not mean neglect. Allah remains aware of every prayer, every effort, and every silent struggle. Nothing is ignored and nothing is forgotten. Delays also teach surrender. Humans often attempt to control every aspect of their lives, believing happiness depends on achieving goals quickly. When plans slow down or fail, believers learn to release control and trust divine wisdom. Surrender does not mean giving up effort, it means continuing to strive while accepting that outcomes belong to Allah. This balance creates peace, freeing the heart from constant anxiety over results. The wisdom of delay becomes clearer when viewed through the lens of long-term purpose rather than short-term desire. Life's timeline is not random but carefully arranged. Every postponed opportunity, every unanswered expectation, and every extended period of waiting contributes to shaping a person's journey. Allah aligns circumstances with perfect precision, ensuring that blessings arrive at moments when they will bring the greatest good. What feels late from a human perspective is never late in divine timing. Allah's plan unfolds according to knowledge that encompasses past, present, and future simultaneously. The believer learns that patience during delay is not wasted time but meaningful progress. Each moment of waiting strengthens faith, deepens understanding, and prepares the heart to receive what is truly meant for it, revealing that protection sometimes comes not through giving immediately, but through withholding until the right moment arrives. With wisdom, mercy, perfect timing beyond human perception. There are moments in life when everything seems to collapse at once. Plans fail, relationships become strained, inner peace disappears, and the heart feels overwhelmed by uncertainty. During such times, many people ask why difficulties continue to appear despite their efforts to live correctly. Yet these heavy moments often serve a deeper purpose. Hardships have a unique way of redirecting a person back toward Allah, reminding them where true strength, peace, and security truly come from. Human nature tends to seek independence. When life flows smoothly, people begin to rely on their abilities, resources, or the support of others. Success can quietly create the illusion that control lies within human hands. Without realizing it, the heart may drift away from sincere remembrance of Allah because comfort reduces the sense of urgency for spiritual connection. It is often only when difficulties arise that a person recognizes how limited human control truly is. Challenges break the illusion of self-sufficiency and awaken a deeper awareness of dependence on the Creator. Hardships slow life down in a way comfort never does. When everything is easy, days pass quickly without reflection. Struggles, however, force pauses. A person begins to think more deeply, question their direction, and evaluate what truly matters. In these moments of reflection, the heart becomes more open to spiritual awareness. Prayer becomes more meaningful, remembrance becomes more sincere, and conversations with Allah become personal rather than routine. Difficulty transforms worship from habit into heartfelt connection. Pain also softens the heart. When individuals experience struggle, they become more aware of vulnerability, both their own and that of others. This softness allows humility to grow. Pride fades because hardship reminds a person that strength is not permanent and success is not guaranteed. Humility brings a believer closer to Allah because it removes barriers created by arrogance and self-reliance. A humble heart recognizes its need for guidance, mercy, and forgiveness. Another way hardship redirects believers is by exposing misplaced attachments. People often place emotional security in careers, relationships, financial stability, or social approval. While these aspects of life are important, relying on them completely can lead to disappointment because they are temporary and unpredictable. When challenges shake these attachments, the heart learns that lasting peace cannot be built upon unstable foundations. Allah gently redirects reliance away from temporary sources toward the one who never changes. Difficult moments also deepen sincerity in supplication. During ease, prayers may be brief or distracted. In hardship, dua becomes intense, honest, and persistent. A person speaks openly to Allah, sharing fears, hopes and pain without hesitation. This sincerity strengthens the relationship between servant and creator. The believer begins to feel heard and understood in ways that human support sometimes cannot provide. Through hardship, communication with Allah becomes intimate and transformative. Hardship often removes distractions that once occupied the heart. Busy routines, entertainment, and worldly pursuits can distance individuals from spiritual reflection. When life becomes difficult, many of these distractions lose importance. The believer begins to prioritize inner peace over external success, seeking meaning rather than temporary pleasure. This shift in focus allows faith to grow stronger and more grounded. Another important aspect of hardship is its ability to remind believers of the temporary nature of this world. Ease can create the illusion that life is permanent and predictable. Struggle breaks this illusion, reminding individuals that worldly life is a journey rather than a destination. This awareness encourages preparation for the hereafter and strengthens commitment to values that carry eternal significance. The believer begins to measure success not only by material achievements, but by spiritual growth and closeness to Allah. Hardship also cultivates gratitude. When blessings are constant, they may go unnoticed. Difficulty highlights the value of simple mercies such as health, supportive relationships, moments of calm, and the ability to worship. Gratitude grows when individuals realize how dependent they are on Allah's continuous care. Even small moments of relief during hardship feel meaningful, reinforcing awareness of divine mercy. Sometimes hardship redirects believers by changing their life path entirely. A loss or failure may push someone toward a new opportunity, a new environment, or a new purpose that aligns more closely with their spiritual and personal growth. What initially appears as a setback may actually be guidance leading toward a better direction. Allah's redirection is often subtle, unfolding gradually until clarity emerges over time. Hardships also teach perseverance in faith. Maintaining belief during difficulty requires strength and trust. Each moment of patience strengthens spiritual endurance, proving that faith is not dependent on circumstances. The believer learns to worship Allah not only in happiness but also in struggle, creating a deeper and more resilient connection. Through hardship, believers discover that peace does not come from the absence of problems but from the presence of Allah in their lives. Even when circumstances remain challenging, spiritual closeness brings calmness to the heart. The believer realizes that true comfort lies in remembrance, trust, and surrender to divine wisdom. The weight felt during difficult times is often an invitation rather than a punishment. It calls the believer back to sincerity, humility, and reliance on Allah. Every tear shed in private, every prayer whispered in uncertainty, and every moment of patience becomes part of a journey towards spiritual renewal. Hardship reshapes priorities, strengthens faith, and guides the heart toward a deeper understanding of purpose, gently drawing the believer closer to Allah through experiences that awaken dependence, sincerity, and lasting spiritual awareness. There are seasons in life when nothing seems to make sense. You try to move forward, yet obstacles appear repeatedly. You make plans, but outcomes unfold differently than expected. In those moments, it is easy to believe that life is simply becoming more difficult without reason. However, from a spiritual perspective, struggle is often a sign that something greater is being written for you. Allah's plan unfolds gradually, and many of the challenges you face today are preparing you for blessings that require a stronger heart, deeper faith, and greater wisdom. Human beings usually focus on the present moment, judging life based on immediate comfort or hardship. When circumstances feel heavy, the future appears uncertain and hope weakens. Yet Allah sees the complete picture of your life, the paths you have walked, the lessons you must learn, and the future you are being guided toward. What feels like delay or difficulty may actually be the careful arrangement of events leading you toward something beyond your current imagination. Preparation for something greater often begins with transformation. Before a new chapter opens, the old version of you must evolve. Challenges reshape mindset, priorities, and character. You begin to understand patience more deeply, value sincerity more strongly, and recognize the importance of reliance on Allah rather than temporary sources of security. These internal changes may not be visible to others, but they are essential for receiving future blessings without losing balance or gratitude. Sometimes Allah allows struggles to strengthen emotional resilience. Greater opportunities and responsibilities require stability under pressure. Without experiencing hardship, success could overwhelm rather than benefit you. Through trials, you learn how to remain calm during uncertainty, how to recover from disappointment, and how to continue moving forward despite fear. The resilience developed during difficult times becomes the foundation that allows you to carry future blessings responsibly. Struggle also builds wisdom. Experiences of loss, rejection, or failure teach lessons that cannot be learned through ease alone. You begin to understand people more compassionately, make decisions more thoughtfully, and approach life with humility. Wisdom gained through hardship becomes a guiding light, not only for yourself, but for others who may one day look to you for support and guidance. Allah often prepares individuals through personal trials so they can later become a source of strength for those around them. Another aspect of preparation involves redirecting your path. Many people believe they know exactly what they need for happiness, yet Allah's knowledge extends beyond human perception. Closed doors and unexpected changes may be guiding you away from situations that would limit your growth. What appears as loss may actually be alignment with a greater destiny. Allah removes certain opportunities not to deprive you but to make space for something more suitable for your future. During times of struggle, faith deepens in ways comfort cannot achieve. When outcomes remain uncertain, the believer learns to trust Allah without visible proof. This form of trust strengthens spiritual connection and creates inner peace that does not depend on external success. Faith built during hardship becomes unshakable because it is rooted in experience rather than theory. The believer discovers that even when life feels unstable, Allah's presence remains constant. Preparation for something bigger often includes learning patience with divine timing. Humans naturally want immediate results, but lasting blessings require precise timing. Receiving something too early may prevent personal growth, while receiving it at the right moment allows full appreciation and responsibility. Waiting becomes part of the journey, teaching acceptance and trust. Each delay contributes to shaping circumstances so that future outcomes arrive when they will bring the greatest benefit. Struggles also reveal hidden strengths. Many people underestimate their ability to endure challenges until life places them in situations that demand courage and perseverance. Through hardship, you discover qualities within yourself that were previously unknown: strength in vulnerability, hope during darkness, and faith during uncertainty. These discoveries change how you view yourself and your potential, preparing you for roles and opportunities you may never have believed you could handle. Another form of preparation involves purification of intention. Difficult experiences encourage reflection on why you pursue certain goals. Motivations become clearer, shifting from seeking validation or worldly recognition towards seeking Allah's pleasure. This purification ensures that future success strengthens faith rather than distracting from it. Allah refines intentions so that blessings become means of gratitude and service rather than sources of arrogance. The struggles you face may also be shaping a story that will inspire others. Many individuals who uplift and guide communities do so because they have personally experienced hardship. Their pain becomes wisdom and their patience becomes an example. Allah may be preparing you not only for personal success, but for a purpose that impacts lives beyond your own. Even when progress feels invisible, change is taking place. Growth often happens quietly beneath the surface, long before visible results appear. Just as roots grow deep underground before a tree rises above the soil, spiritual and emotional preparation occurs before blessings manifest outwardly. The heaviness you feel may be the strengthening of those roots, ensuring stability when the next phase of your life begins. Every hardship, every delay, and every moment of uncertainty forms part of a divine plan, moving you towards something greater than your current circumstances. Allah's preparation is never random, it is precise, intentional, and filled with wisdom. The struggles of today may one day be understood as necessary steps that shaped your character, strengthened your faith, and positioned you exactly where you were meant to be, guiding you forward toward a future written with purpose, growth, and blessings far beyond what you can presently see.